Damn.
So we're out here at the shop, and I'm out here with my Civic and the Z, of course. And as most people know, this Civic is getting a K24 all-wheel drive setup put in it. What I gotta do right now is, the next step for this thing is it's gonna get the roll cage put in it. It just had this off-brand harness bar put in it before. It's actually pretty sturdy. I was pretty impressed with it, but the kind of racing I'm going to be doing is going to kind of warrant a full roll cage. So there is actually a subscriber of the channel that wants that bar, so what I'm going to do is get that out today. I might strip some more stuff out of the engine compartment, just try to get this car down to a shell. I know I need to get the seats and all the stuff in the trunk out, and then finish getting the interior out of it, so that our boy Dino, that you guys saw in the previous Champ Race video, can put a roll cage in it. He does incredible work. The kid's cages fit so tight that he can actually stitch weld them to the entire car, all the way around your main hoop. So he does really, really good work. I really want Dino to get that done. He'll be doing that next month. So what I got to do is get this car completely stripped. That way he can have a blank slate to work with. But first, as bad as I want to tear into that Civic right now and get it ready to go to Dino's, I have a more pressing issue. Behind me is my beautiful 2007 Ridgeline, which a lot of people hate these things. What I'm going to do now is do a time lapse of me tearing into this thing and getting this whole job done. I know a lot of people wonder how timing belts on these cars work, and everybody's always asking how to do it. So what I'm going to do is just kind of do a general overview of the entire service. And then if anybody has any questions, I can dive into it even deeper. Anyway, the idea here is get this thing back up to snuff, because it is my road going vehicle. It's my semi-daily driver. In the winter it is, because my Accord sometimes can't handle the weather that we get thrown in Ohio. So this thing shines really well for about 2 weeks out of the year anyway. So anyway, it's important to keep the daily driver going first and foremost, because it takes me to the place that funds my terrible ideas and my stupid projects like the Civic. So anyway, I got to keep this thing rolling and keep it healthy. And that's what we're going to do right now. And then after that, we'll tear into the Civic. You may have noticed earlier how I marked the timing belt up to the side of the engine. That is so I don't have to think twice when I throw the key in the ignition and fire it up. These timing belts can be a stressful job, but if you set them up right and mark everything and make sure everything goes back exactly how you took it out, you don't have to think twice. Now we're going to do is let it warm up, make sure your heat is all the way up so the heater core valve is open, and then turn it off so that the blower fan doesn't cool your engine off. And now you wait. So wait until the fans kick on twice, and then we're done. Okay, now moving on to the Civic. I got a lot of stuff to move. So I don't even know what this is. I think this is the stuff from the Fury. This is stuff from the Civic. Looks like some other miscellaneous stuff in there because that's a V6 intake gasket. Anyway, I'm going to get all of this stuff except for that, because I'm going to be needing that, out in the truck. I think that's it. So what I'm going to do is set this puppy up and start pulling stuff out and get it loaded in the truck. And then we'll talk about it after that. Okay, so I'm back in my home garage now, and as you can see, it's pretty cold in here. But I've got all the stuff from the back of the truck unloaded, all my old B-Series stuff, and figured I'd go through it because there might be somebody on this channel that could use some of it. And I am looking to get rid of all of it, and it's a make offer basis. So let's run down through it real quick and just see if anybody wants anything. If not, skip ahead in the video and we'll get to actually taking the car apart. But for now, I'm going to run down through this. Forward body harness and dash harness stuff, HVAC control, underhood fuse box, miscellaneous wiring, B-Series idle air control valve, wheel speed sensors out of a GSR that should also fit EK Civic, B16 upper timing cover blocks, vacuum distribution block, coil on plug ready distributor. It's been stripped of everything that you don't need. Coils that will fit B-Series underneath the coil spark plug cover. ID 2000 injector hats for B-Series with the fuel rail spacers, cam pulleys, OE cam pulleys. Passenger side airbag, still good, obviously. Hasn't been set off or it wouldn't be tucked away like that. HVAC box with dash tubing, ducting. Power steering reservoir and return line. Driver's side torque mount for B-Series, driver's side engine mount and bracket. Passenger side torque mount and passenger side transmission mount. And its bracket is just on this transmission right now, so I didn't lose those bolts. ASR, I believe 24mm rear sway bar. ASR subframe brace, Eibach. I believe this is an 18mm rear sway bar with the bushings. B16 and B18 manual starter, B-Series alternator. So if you're looking for just a cheap fix for your B-Series transmission, I probably either got it in this box or in this bucket. For shims, countershafts, input shafts, synchros and bearings, diff bearings, speed sensors, hubs, collars, synchro springs, input shaft bearings, synchros out the wazoo, countershaft bearings, it's all here. Comp clutch, stage 5 4-puck sprung. As you can see, it's missing a little chunk right there. I did use this at 600 horsepower for quite some time. It still held, there was nothing wrong with it, but as you can see, it has seen better days, so I'd let that go pretty cheap. B16 factory replacement clutch, an OE flywheel, it's in good shape. What else there's to say about that? GSR transmission case. This case was the one that I used the most. I had polished some things and did some workarounds on like fluid issues where I like poured and polished the hole that the diff feeds to the input shaft and counter shaft bearings. I polished the area around the diff so that there was no like fluid restrictions on it getting oil to things. So I just, you know, did some updates to it, and as you can see, I cleaned all the Honda bond off of the surface really well, and it's ready to just be put back together and thrown in a car. There's nothing wrong with that case. I just had it taken apart to go through all the gears and everything. B16 S4C transmission that came in the SI in just as good a shape as the GSR. It just ended up on the shelf because the GSR one looked better. This is for the dog box, guys. This case has been windowed on the front and the rear. It's dirty and needs cleaned. Anything that you see in this area, aside from those things, those are mine, and aside from those two things, any of this stuff is all good to be sold. So if you have a B-Series and you need some transmission parts or just some miscellaneous part, let me know. I've probably got it. I don't have much in the way of suspension or interior, but I can always get that because we have a lot of parts cars on the Champ team. So if you need something, let me know. All right, so back out here at the shop with the EM1 again, and as you can see, this thing is pretty well sardined in here. Got 3 motorcycles and the Z right on top of it, and then there's some other cars in here as well. But I need to get this thing stripped down for Dino. So what I'm going to do now is cut to the chase and get to work tearing the seats, carpet, and the harness bar out of it. So as you can see, I mean, there's just some miscellaneous stuff in here, some tools I've been working with, and then the pedals are still on the firewall. I think I'm going to leave the door cards in it. I'm not sure yet. I'll have to talk to Dino about that, but I know I need to get some stuff out of them because I'm going to rewire all of that as well. But yeah, the harness bar's got to go. I got to clear out the trunk and then get the seats and carpet out of it. So that is going to be the goal for today. And then I've got to put all that stuff on the floor somewhere right here and over there. And then I think there's some space over there. So yeah, let's get busy. Let's tear this thing all the way down so we can start building it back up. This simple. This car is still a street car, as I said, so I want a working dome light, a working moonroof, power windows, and map light. So when the cage gets put in the car, it's going to make getting these interior panels out extremely difficult, if not impossible. So what I need to do now is wire up the moonroof, map light, and dome light and run them down this A-pillar to a fuse box that I'm going to have put in underneath the dash right there. That way, when Dino puts the cage in, we don't have to tear this stuff back out to wire those things up. It'll already be done. Then, once the cage is done and in the car, I should have the clutch I need to put these two things together and get them in there. And then we can really start wiring up the engine, the headlights, any other stuff I might want up there if I'm running traction control, you know, get all of that stuff, and then the tail lights, whatever, fuel pumps. Get all that wired up and get it run to the PMU black that will sit where the SRS unit used to be. And then the SRS unit will feed power to the fuse box that will then control the things that don't need a lot of precise control, like the map light, dome light, and moonroof. So hopefully that makes sense. So over the next couple of videos, that's what I'll be doing, is at least getting the interior torn out, the wiring taken out, and then new wiring put in, at least down to the dash, just some flying leads. And then that will allow Dino to put the cage in and block those interior panels. And then from there, we'll be able to progress with the build. So again, that'll be the next couple videos. Right now, I'm just gonna finish tearing out the interior, and then we're gonna put the cap on this one. So this harness right here, that handles mostly the moonroof, and then there's some dome light wires into that connection there, but then it runs up along the driver's side A-pillar over to the map light, and that's just going to be a switch positive, or actually that's constant positive. And then it's dark in here, it's tough to see, camera's not cooperating. That is the dome light there, and then there's a lot of moonroof wiring that runs down here. So basically what I'm going to do is remake all of that wiring and run it down that A-pillar there, and then it'll run into a fuse box right there.